Evaluate the indefinite integral. Here we have the integral e to the x times the cosine e to the x dx. So in this particular question, what we want to do is we're going to use the u substitution, where we're going to let u equal e to the x. Step 2, we're going to take the derivative of both sides. The derivative of the left side is going to be du. The derivative of the right side is the derivative of e to the x is going to be e to the x. Now remember that technically when you take the derivative of e to the x, right, it's the chain rule. And the chain rule meaning that you're going to take e to the x and then multiply it by the derivative of x, which is 1, which then gives us e to the x. So remember, that's kind of what you do when you're taking a derivative of that. So keep in mind that if this was e to the negative x, the derivative of that would be e to the negative x and times the derivative of negative x, which is negative 1, which would be negative e to the negative x. So we just got to be careful when we're taking a derivative of that. But in this case, the derivative of e to the x is e to the x, and then that's dx. Okay? So if you take a look up here, we have e to the x times dx, so we don't have to do anything other than just leave this as it is. And so for step number 3, we're going to go ahead and rewrite the question. So we have the integral e to the x times the cosine e to the x dx. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and substitute. Well, the first thing is that we know that we have the cosine of, in parentheses, is e to the x, so that's cosine u, and then times, well, what is e to the x times dx? Well, e to the x dx is du. So this is times du. So therefore, the integral that we have is the cosine of u du. All right. Now, what is the derivative of the cosine of u? Well, the derivative of the cosine of u is the sine of u, and then don't forget the constant, and that's plus c. Now the last thing we need to do is, what do we substitute for u? Well, we substitute u to be e to the x. So therefore, let's write out our answer. So this is the sine of e to the x plus c. And therefore, there is your result.